launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show as Adalia takes aim at the west coast of Florida. I am safe and hunkered down in our Orlando studios, and Peter Blake is there right in the way of the storm. What are you doing? Why are you still there in your holiday home? What's up? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing? Yeah, I mean, I've been through storms like this before. I feel like it's going to miss, but you never know. It may turn, and, we'll update the track here. But, yeah, I'm in an apartment upstairs here. I don't think there's any room for flooding. We'll see what happens. I've been through storms before. I'm a Floridian. So.
We're rough and tumble, guys. We're not going to blow this out of proportion. But as I've seen many of these happen before, I think this thing is definitely going to intensify. It might be a Category 3, and right now it looks like it's going to hit up in the Big Bend area. There are some steering currents. That cold front that's coming down, I think, might push it a little bit farther south. And what's really concerning, these last two, Tampa Bay got the backside of it where the water washed out, oddly enough, of the bay. This time they're going to get the right side of it. The easterns, or I guess will be the eastern side of the storm. And the circulation is going to take the water up into Tampa Bay. And we got a big full moon coming up tomorrow night or the night after. So there could be some serious surge flooding up Tampa Bay and in South Tampa and all along the coastline. So a little concerned about that. If you're in harm's way, please take this one seriously. I think this one could be more of a serious event. So listen to your great folks, our Dennis Phillips out there, and the people that have been through these before, and take heed. And it has already affected the sports world. The University of Florida, the Gators are going to get out of town, travel to Texas, stay there, I believe, on Wednesday night, and then travel to Utah for the Thursday night game, which, by the way, college football is here, baby.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Oh, you had to do it, didn't you? You couldn't help yourself.
I had to do it once, at least, because I think a lot of people out there are excited about college football being back, excited about NFL football being back, but especially college football. There's so much intrigue. It kind of started last weekend with Notre Dame and Southern Cal, and, of course, Heisman races going on. And, of course, locally here, USF. Hopefully, they could do a lot better than they did the last couple of years here. Hopefully.
Can't be worse, Peter.
Right.
Can't be worse for USF. There's nowhere to go but up. My God.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what Alex Golesh has in store for this USF offense. Well, defensively, they were the worst defense in college football last year, at least the bottom five. So let's hope he's found a way. They brought in 46 transfers or some ridiculous number, which they needed to. They needed to overhaul that roster. Let's not be crazy about this. So I'm excited to see what Big Alex the Big Red has in store for us, the Russian Ready. Let's see what happens with USF. Hey, this Florida State game, obviously it's right here in Orlando on Sunday night. Now, obviously this storm is set to hit Wednesday. Now, if there's flooding like what happened with, I believe it was Ian, that came up through Central Florida, again, we're going to get the eastern side of the storm here. So let's hope that it's not the same flooding situation that we had for that, because I'm not saying it could postpone the game, but if people can't get in and out of the stadium, just not trying to be crazy. And I swear to God, if that game is postponed for some reason, I will go bananas.
Yes,
so
I agree. Because
looking forward to this for freaking 6 months. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Just throwing that out there, and I hope they don't go bananas about it and get overstimulated by the hurricane stuff. So anyway, let's tell everybody about what's coming up on the show today. JC Allen from Pewter Report's going to join us at 10:30. And hey, Peter, tell the folks, you want to call into the show?
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
Go. You got phone calls today?
Yeah, 727-255 0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528 here on the JP Peterson Show. So once again, the numbers are up there. Call in. Talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Talk about your Tampa Bay Rays. Talk about college football, whatever you want to talk about here on this show.
All right. So also the Rays. The Bucks made their cuts this morning. Some very surprising names on there, I thought. Many they're hoping to bring back on the taxi squad, the practice squad. So we'll talk about that. The Rays, obviously, off yesterday. They'll start a series with the Marlins today. And they've been playing some great baseball. Are they good enough to make some noise in the postseason? Not so sure about that without Wander Franco. By the way, haven't had a Wander Franco update in quite some time. I mean, it's not like we have investigators down there. So, I mean, at last we've heard there's obviously some meat to this thing. So we got to let it all play out. But I wouldn't expect him back with this team. And frankly, lately they don't really need him. So they've been playing better without him. The post-Wander Franco era has begun, and so far so good. What, they won 5 out of their last 6 series?
Yeah.
So
2 out of 3. That's what you do, meatloaf. And then David Ortiz actually had some comments about the Tampa Bay Rays, which we definitely want to get into, and then also hear from fans. Is he correct about what he had to say? So we'll definitely get into that a little bit later.
All right, so let's start with the news of the Buccaneers cuts, which just came down. Interesting that John Wolford, the number 3 quarterback, was released. Well, I guess not that interesting. You're allowed to keep 3 quarterbacks now, but they can move him to the practice squad, which I don't see some other team coming after him, to be their 3rd quarterback or 2nd quarterback. So I think they feel pretty good about getting him back. They also released Patrick O'Connor, who's been with the team since 2017, has played a lot of special teams, had 20 career special teams tackles, sack and a half on defense. That was interesting. Nolan Turner, safety, that was on the squad last year, was released. Deidre Sanat, former USF player, also released. A little bit surprising there. Mm-hmm. And then for the receivers, Cade Warner, Kalen Geiger, and David Moore, who they signed in the offseason. Now, Moore's contract, it was guaranteed if he made the final 53-man roster. So if he passes through waivers and nobody else picks him up, they can bring him back. Right now, they only have 5 receivers on the depth chart. Evans, Godwin, Trey Palmer, Tompkins, and Raheem Jarrett. So those were the guys I think you needed to protect anyway. I don't think somebody's going to come to get David Moore, but because I like what I've seen from him. There's going to be injuries. He's a veteran. He's a guy you can count on.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that because he does know that Seattle system. He's played well. Certainly seems like he had some chemistry with both quarterbacks, especially Kyle Trask. So they're going young. And according to JC Allen, the 7 drafted rookies, 6 of them are undrafted. You got Sean Tucker, Raheem Jarrett, outside linebacker Marquise Watts, who I've heard so much about.
Yeah, he's been a huge surprise.
He has cornerback Derek Pitts, Kristen Etienne, and safety Kayvon Merriweather. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because it certainly seems like for the Bucs, they're going younger. That's exactly what they wanted to do. And the Bucs will have 13 rookies out of their initial 53-man roster. So, JP, if you look at it from the perspective, a lot of around the league pundits would say the Bucs were older and everything else, and now it seems like the goal this year was to certainly get younger, and they certainly have done that.
Yeah, I think what we see with this roster is, they're going to if they make a mistake, they're going to make it with a younger player. And some of these guys have really, really good upside. Watts is one of those guys. I didn't think anybody, probably thought Jose Rodriguez was going to be that guy. But Watts has shown out. He has played really, really well in the preseason. And, when you get down to, 6th and 7th round draft picks, they're really no different than undrafted free agents, to be honest with you. So you never know what you're going to get. And, they went out and they found some gems in Sean Tucker, Rock Jarrett. They found some really, really good players. And, I said this before the season started, that one of the things, we kind of looked at, what do the Buccaneers have to do to get back to the Super Bowl? Well, one of the building blocks of a Super Bowl team is finding undrafted free agents and lower round draft picks that you hit on, right? That is a key. When you look at, the 2020 Super Bowl team, they had rookies, Tristan Wirfs, Antoine Winfield come in and play significant roles, right? You got to be able to hit on these draft picks. You got to be able to get younger players. They had guys like Chris Godwin, who was a third-round pick, become a Pro Bowler, right? You need these lower picks to become Pro Bowlers in order for you to have a Super Bowl team, because you have a roster with those guys who aren't getting paid very much, right? Mm-hmm. And you can fill it out with other free agents like Shaq Barrett, JPP, who you're going to have to overpay in free agency, right? So you got to have that mix. So right now, I mean, we don't think the Bucs are. Madden 24 thinks they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I'm not going that far. But so you need to develop those players, and that's the mode they're in right now. So, instead of keeping a Nolan Turner, you keep a Merriweather who has a higher ceiling, right? You keep a Raheem Jarrett instead of a David Moore who has a higher ceiling, right? And so you see how these players develop. And I think they're going to give Sean Tucker, the running back, every opportunity to become an every down back if he's that guy. Not initially. It's Rashad White's job, right? It's Keyshawn Vaughn, but we've heard that Sean Tucker has been running with the ones in some instances, so they like him. Devin Tompkins, Rock Jarrett, we talked about him. Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer is a 6th-round pick that really has shown the ability, very early, right? Very early to be a number 1 receiver. He's got 4.33 speed. He was the fastest receiver in the draft. He's got good size at 6 feet, almost 200 pounds. He's shown the ability to catch the ball and be aggressive in catching the ball. He can make big plays. If we didn't know he was a 6th-round pick and somebody said, oh, that's their 1st-round pick at receiver, would you go, wow, he doesn't look like a 1st-rounder? No. You'd say, oh, yeah, he looks like a 1st-rounder. So these are the things you have to hit on in order to become a Super Bowl team down the road. And it's early. We haven't seen these guys play in a regular season game yet, and that's a difference. But I would have to say that there's not too many of these guys that we're like, oh, that guy can't play. That guy can't. Like Payne Durham, the tight end. He looks slow out there. Like, he catches the football, he looks slow. I don't know what his ceiling is. Like, he's a guy that could be great positional, make positional catches, find parts in the zone. He may have those great instincts and become a good player. Right now, I would not project him to have a high ceiling. Cade Otton has showed me some things this year. He looks better. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. Watching him block, he doesn't look overmatched anymore like he did last year. So there's a building block. So as you look at this roster right now, to me, there are lots of building blocks that you have to have moving forward that are starting to fill in the space.
Absolutely. And it goes back to Jason Light's track record, because there's been a lot of fans out there that are very critical of, his drafts. And it goes back to, of course, Roberto Aguayo all the way back there.
Well, you got to always say that, don't you? You just got to bring that up, don't you?
Fans continue to bring it up, but I like the pick at the time. I just think he gets too much criticism. And now with this draft, with all these undrafted free agents, let's say most of them all pan out, then you're not going to be able to say that Jason Light's track record is bad. And then on top of it, I think it's unfair, because basically if Jason Light does not build this team the way he does, Tom Brady never comes here. Bruce Arians never comes here. So he was definitely a big-time architect. And I feel like the way he built that team, maybe we could put this out there. I think he definitely deserves to be in the Ring of Honor, if anything else.
Who?
Jason Light.
Jason Light in the Ring of Honor?
Yes. Just like Rich McKay should be, too. Yep. Is Rich McKay in the Ring of Honor?
I don't think so. John McKay is.
Well, John McKay is. Rich McKay deserves to be in there.
Now you got me all whacked out.
But see, I feel like Jason Light, like, if you're going to honor something, you got to honor greatness. And would we not say that Jason Light is one of the greatest general managers in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history?
Well, yeah, he won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my point. But he's unfairly criticized by fans all the time. That's what you hear. I mean, I'm on social media on Facebook. I put something down with Jason Light, and they go, oh, this guy, he's false and this and that and the other thing. And it's disappointing because people really don't look at it. They just look at, well, last year they had 8 wins, so this is on Jason Light. Well, okay. How about the last couple of years when you win a division and you set this team up for a Super Bowl? Does he deserve credit for that, for building it? Of course he does.
Of course he does. Listen, people who are giving Jason Light crap don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. General managers are going to make errors. My God, you're going to make a lot of errors. But do you make more good moves than bad moves? And I would say, delivering division titles and a Super Bowl championship would say, yeah, 3 straight playoff appearances, a Super Bowl title. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to go Ring of Honor just yet. All right. I think we can hold off on that. But if people are thinking he should be fired, they're out of their freaking minds. Mm-hmm. He's the one who built the roster, like you said. And Bruce brought Bruce Arians. Yeah, he was. Let's just be honest about this. He was about to get fired before he got Bruce Arians in here. That was his Hail Mary. And they caught it in the end zone and spiked it, right? Mm-hmm. And then that brought Brady here, and the rest is history. So, yeah, I mean, come on. Jason Light has grown into this job. I don't think he was a very good general manager early on. I would agree with you there. Mm-hmm. But he grew into this job and made the right moves. You win a Super Bowl, that buys you a lot of credibility. And I will say this, there is no question that the Glazers trust Jason Light. And I think a big reason for that is because Jason's not afraid to admit his failures. And then he makes a mistake. And he doesn't hold on to it so long. He moves on quickly. And I think that's a mark of a good general manager, is when you don't double down. Don't double down. When you make a mistake, admit it and move on. And also surround yourself with smart people and good people and let them do their jobs, which is what he did with Bruce Arians. I don't know if he orchestrated what happened last year. I think that was at a higher level with Brady and Arians, and you can take your pick on what the hell went on with there. All right. I happen to believe that Brady forced Arians out. That's my opinion. Okay. And that brought us the dysfunction of last year, which again is Brady's fault. So Brady gets all the credit for the Super Bowl and the 13-win season on the run. He gets all of that, but he needs to take significant blame for what happened last year and how this team set up what I would call, and I think most would agree, a very dysfunctional season. But that's kind of going off on a tangent. By the way, yes, John McKay is in the Ring of Honor, just to make sure. Leroy Selman, Jimmy Giles, Paul Gruber, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Mike Allstott, Doug Williams, John Lynch, Malcolm Glazer, Tony Dungy, Rondé Barber, Monty Kiffin, John oh, wait.
Hold on.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Bruce Arians. The
Right.
other name has been removed. So anyway, yeah, Bruce Arians is in there. Will Jason Light be in there? Let's see how he finishes out his career, because he's far from done. He's far from done here.
Right.
Which brings me to my next point that I wanted to talk about today. And when I talk about building blocks for the future, let's take a look at one Baker Reagan Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is now the starting quarterback of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the question is, my friends, is he a building block of the future? Is Baker Mayfield a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Does he have that ability? Now, before you start saying, hey, JP, you're out of your freaking mind, this guy's a bum, blah, blah, blah. He's been on I love this one. He's been on 4 teams in a year. No, he's good. Nobody wanted him. That has got to be
Shut up!
the dumbest take ever. The dumbest take ever. Okay. First of all, the Cleveland Browns, in their infinite wisdom, who had, I can't remember, was Brian Sipe the last quarterback that took the Browns to the playoffs before Baker Mayfield? He may have been. I'm not sure, but
I thought it was Bernie Kosar.
I think Sipe was Kosar after Sipe? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, maybe Bernie Kosar. You're right.
Yeah.
Whatever. They're all about 80 years old right now. That's the point, right? That's my point. So this guy comes in, the first overall pick in the draft, by the way. And do you have to have some ability to be the first overall pick in the draft? I believe you do.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to have a little bit of a resume, like a Heisman Trophy,
Right.
Walter Camp Award, Maxwell Award winner, 2-time Kellen Moore Award at Oklahoma, the AP College Football Player of the Year, 2-time Sporting News Player of the Year, Sugar Bowl MVP, 2-time Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. We can go on and on and on. 61% completion percentage in college. I'm sorry, in NFL over his career. 102 touchdowns, 64 interceptions, over 16,000 passing yards, a passer rating of 86.5. But as we have looked at his career, all this dude does, especially in college, was win. And the only time he had a sane coach at the Cleveland Browns, the only time he had a full offseason to prepare for his season, he went out and had a very productive year with your Cleveland Browns. It took them to the playoffs, which they haven't been there in forever, and won a playoff game. And then what did the Browns do? Well, first of all, he went out and played with a separated left shoulder, which he should not have done. And he played like crap, threw more interceptions, piled up more of those interceptions. By the way, 21 of those interceptions came in one season, and a very dysfunctional season at that in Cleveland. So I kind of throw that out as well. Not competent coaching, ridiculously bad organization. We could go on and on. Sure. But when given the opportunity, Baker Mayfield has played pretty damn well. When it's been a situation where I would call a decent situation, and I think this one that he's in is a very decent situation. And you look at what he did. First of all, the Cleveland Browns then went out and paid Deshaun Watson more guaranteed money than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. And when he had 30-some accusations of sexual abuse against him. And threw Baker Mayfield to the curb. So you can make your judgment on how smart the Cleveland Browns are. So Baker then catches on with the Carolina Panthers, who have Matt Rule as their coach, who was almost as clueless as a professional coach as Urban Meyer. The dude didn't even run third down and end zone offense in practice half the time. Zero clue how to coach in the NFL. And then he got hurt there and then got picked up by the Rams. And if you go look at some of that Rams tape on a team that had no offensive line whatsoever, most of their skill players were hurt. He went out and won a couple of games that were flat out miracles. Fast forward to this offseason, where he is working in this Dave Canales system, which is absolutely fine-tuned, perfect for him, exactly what his skill set demands. We saw it in preseason, what very little we saw in preseason. I would have liked to have seen a lot more, how good he is at running this offense, and we're just scratching the surface. So my question to you is, have the Buccaneers done what they've done 2 times before? Not drafted a Super Bowl quarterback, but found a free agent quarterback that can lead them to the promised land. Go ahead.
No, I think they can. I mean, he's got the weapons around him. Again, I go back to, limiting the opportunities there, which means, focusing on the running game, cutting down on that decision making. Hopefully he doesn't have those turnovers, those interceptions, and you got to have a line, of course, in front of you that blocks. But you're exactly right. They have been better at this with getting veteran guys like a Brad Johnson, of course, Tom Brady, even so much Jeff Garcia, right? People say, Jeff Garcia, but he still took them to the playoffs. They're better off with veteran guys at the end of the day. So they may have, and he has the potential. He's a number 1 overall pick in 2018. Yeah, he's no slouch. He's not Johnny Manziel. A lot of people say, could be Johnny. No, he's got the work habits.
Oh my God, come on.
He wants
That's
it.
The most ridiculous. Just because they're both white quarterbacks who can run around and throw, we're going to say he's Johnny Manziel.
Well, it's the stuff
more different.
And it's the stuff off the field. But you're exactly right. I mean, for me, I think he's grown up. He's got mature. You listen to him talk during these pressers in the offseason. He certainly seems like he has lots to prove. And JP, let's face it, he does have a lot to prove here, because this could be his last chance of starting for an NFL football team. So what better way than to do that with the Bucs, who still have weapons, who still have Evans, who still have Godwin. You have a running back, a young running back in Rashard White and Cade Otton. And I think you have the perfect offense, and the way that tempo was going the other night, again, if that's a sign of things to come, boy, look out.
Yeah. So his last 2 years at Oklahoma, these numbers are just ridiculous. 70% completion percentage. His junior year, 70.9. His senior year, 70.5, or his sophomore, junior, whatever they were. Those last 2 years. 4,000 yards in 2016, 4,600 yards in 2017, 43 touchdowns, 6 interceptions his final year. The year before, 40 touchdowns. So 83 touchdowns and 14 picks in 8,600 yards in those 2 years. Quarterback ratings of 196.4 and 198.9. I mean, not too shabby, my friends. Not too shabby. And when you look at the 2020 season in Cleveland, trying to get the final numbers here. Mayfield finished the 2020 season with 4,030 passing yards. 4,000 yards, folks. 30 touchdowns and 9 interceptions through 18 total games. And was ranked 71st by his fellow players on the top 100 players of 2021. So you tell me, is this guy a better quarterback? First of all, and everybody wants Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams. I don't know. In the same offense, by the way. If you think Caleb Williams is going to match Baker's numbers, he might, but he's not going to shatter him.
No.
So if you guys want Caleb Williams, I'm giving you, for $4.5 million, by the way, a guy who can put up the same amount of numbers, and you don't have to tank and throw the entire season into and hope you get Caleb Williams and hope he becomes an NFL quarterback. So before we just start dismissing, as Damian Woody and many others have, Baker Mayfield out of hand as a bum and trash, I would say let's look at what he's done, and let's also say let's look at where he is now, which is the most important thing, and look at what he's got to work with. And you could tell me, listen, he may not win a Super Bowl ever. Chances are he never will. But my point is he as good as Brad Johnson? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. You know, the other free agent quarterback they brought in was pretty good. He was pretty good. Right. That Brady guy. He was pretty good. But my point being is, if you want to sit around here and tank a season and draft a quarterback, how's that worked out for the Bucs in the past? Not so well. Getting a free agent quarterback, how's that worked out for the Bucs? Not so bad. Jeff Garcia took him to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Brad Johnson won him a Super Bowl, took him to the playoffs, won a Super Bowl. Tom Brady took him to the playoffs 3 times and won a Super Bowl. So not too shabby. I like where this is going, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, no. And then you go out to this comment here. I don't know if you're reading comments, but let's read this one from Richie P. Nick Wright on Fox Sports has been beating the drum for Baker on a national level. He may be the only one. Personally, I feel like there's a lot of potential for Baker to have a career year. So that's one national media pundit. But, of course, you know, you've got Colin Cowherd, who they have their little personal thing that goes all the way back since he was drafted, how he said weeks ago that Baker should retire if he's competing with Kyle Trask. I mean, it's just ridiculous stuff like that. It's just lazy narrative takes from the national media, and I think it freaks out a lot of Bucs fans, and I always tell them, don't listen to it. Just get motivated by it. This team is motivated by it. They have a chip on their shoulder because, you know, once again, a lot of people saying it's just Brady. It was just Brady last year. They don't have talent. They have plenty of talent on this team. They do.
Well, there's a lot of reasons I want Baker to succeed, but to stuff it in Cow Turd's ear is definitely in the top 5. No doubt about that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. JC Allen from Pewter Report is going to join us. We'll see how he likes my take on Baker Mayfield. We'll get your phone calls in later on in the show. We'll have the numbers up there for you. Comments, please, those are welcome as well. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Contact them through the website if you have had an accident or had your car totaled and don't like the settlement you got, or if you've got some issues after the hurricane, you with your insurance company, you may need a lawyer to represent you, and who better than Scott Jeeves, Jeeves, JeevesLawGroup.com. Back in 3 with JC Allen, Pewter Report. Stay with us.
9JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
There we
To
go.
the JP Peterson Show. We hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Hunkering down for the hurricane. Don't go bananas, but just be smart. Have a plan. If the water starts rising, it's too late. So pay attention to what's happening. If I were in South Tampa, I might be finding another place to go or on the coastline. So heed those warnings, folks. All right, let's bring in our good friend JC Allen from the Pewter Report. What's up, JC? How are you, my friend?
Hey, sorry, I couldn't hear you guys. How we doing, guys?
We are good. We are fantastic, actually. Not as good as John Wolford, David Moore, Nolan Turner. Some guys I thought that might be on the 53 are not on the 53, but you guys at the Pewter Report are all over this. Any surprises on the 53 for you?
Yes. I think you named one of them there. David Moore was definitely a surprise to me.
Yeah.
I just with the youth of this wide receiver room, having a veteran that knows the system, that knows Dave Canales and Brad Idzik from his time in Seattle. I thought he was kind of a lock to make that team, probably as that number 5, 6 wide receiver. So releasing him was definitely a shock. I had an inkling that they were going to go with only 2 quarterbacks and try to bring John Wolford back to the practice squad as that RB3, QB3, kind of like Ryan Griffin was the last couple of years. So that is the plan, unless he gets claimed by another team on waivers. Expect Wolford back on the practice squad. Patrick O'Connor was another one. Was surprising. I mean, he's logged over 700 special team snaps over the course of his career. Had blocked field goal. Really kind of developed as a nickel pass rusher, but I think they just like the youth of Mike Green better, who they signed last year as a tryout player and made the practice squad, and is now made that 53-man roster, initial 53-man roster. There's a lot of changing, but again, he's another guy. Unless he gets claimed, he'll probably be back on the practice squad. And I think J.J. Russell was the other one. Lights out in camp, filling in for. Devin White and Levante David at times, especially when Levante was getting those rest days. And then also just in the games. I mean, on Saturday, he only had 11 tackles. So the waiving of him was certainly a surprise. I thought he did enough to earn a spot, but he will as well be back on the practice squad, clear waivers. And he'll also, there's a good chance he could be elevated week 1 and play a role if KJ Britt or Savasi Dennis, who are both dealing with kind of lingering little nagging injuries here, can't go. So those are the biggest guys. I think you can make a case for Keenan Isaac, the cornerback as well, undrafted guy. Then, of course, Jose Ramirez, team's 6th-round draft pick. Fortunately, a hamstring injury in that first game. He just didn't really get enough reps in practice and in those games, but they really want him back as well in that practice squad.
JC, I think this probably says more about who they think they can get through waivers, right, than who they want playing on the team. I think something like Rock Jarrett's probably one of those guys. His name now is out there from PFF as one of the top graded rookies. I saw that making the rounds on Twitter today. And I think this is kind of more about, David Moore. We could probably get him through waivers, or people would have, signed him in the offseason. They don't want to put guys like Rock Jarrett out there because some other teams may say that guy's got a really high ceiling. Let's go grab him. Is that more about what this is about, these type of cuts?
There might be some of those guys. There's going to be a flurry of moves, and teams are going to be trying to upgrade their own bottom of the roster. We know they're going to keep churning. I think Rock did enough in preseason and in practice to guarantee a roster spot. I think with like a guy like David Moore, I think that was more the thing. He's a veteran. He doesn't have to go through the waiver process. You use that ability to get someone else on the team, like Pat O'Connor as well. You hope no one picks up him, and you keep the younger guy with upside in Mike Green. Right. So there's definitely some gamesmanship for sure with some of these roster cuts. Especially if there's, the Bucs didn't cut many veterans, but when you are cutting veterans, et cetera, to be able to kind of sneak them through, or sometimes even cut them a little bit early, a day or two early, or just flood the system. So, when you've got a bunch of teams, 37 players are going to be cut from all 32 teams for over 1,100 players. Sometimes things can get lost in the shuffle. So, as far as Rock, I think he did enough to earn a spot. Maybe a guy like Derek Pitts is someone, or some of these bottom of the roster guys, which they're kind of maybe just like placeholders for now. If they can upgrade it, they certainly will. But it should be interesting moves coming here in the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't think Jason Light's done. I expect an addition to the secondary in the backfield. Desmond King was released yesterday by the Texans. Eric Rowe was just released today, safety and a nickelback respectively. So I think we'll see some movement, especially offensive line. Maybe they feel like they're going to get an upgrade at swing tackle, maybe over Brandon Walton or Justin School. So this room isn't done. Keyshawn Vaughn's a name to watch. Is the guy who potentially could get cut as well. Yeah. If they want to roll with 3 running backs or bring a different style of runner, more of a bruiser, pound it, somewhere around like 6'1", 6'2", 230 pounds to kind of just, be that guy for a short yardage goal line situation and put his shoulder down and just truck through some people. So, there's definitely going to be some fluidity. I wouldn't be surprised to see a veteran wide receiver on this roster as well.
Wow,
really?
Another guy. They like their young guys a lot, and they're not going to name a traditional wide receiver 3 in that sense.
Okay.
They'll be doing a lot of rotation. But if a guy comes available who they like, usually teams keep 6 wide receivers. With them keeping 4 tight ends, it's a little different. But that's another position too. If a guy comes available at tight end that they really like in a very young tight end room, that there could be a move there. So definitely use the word initial 53-man roster with all seriousness, because there's these roster moves and some churning about of that bottom of the roster.
JC, how surprised are you? You put this out there on a tweet. The Bucs have 6 undrafted free agent rookies make the team. I mean, what does that say? Basically, what Jason Licht thinks about his roster with these undrafted free agents. It certainly seems like they're very excited about these guys, right?
Yeah, there's draftable grades on several of these guys. Kayvon Merriweather, definitely Raheem Jarrett was another guy. Sean Tucker could have been a day 2 pick, early day 3 pick if that heart issue didn't come up. So they're really excited about him. He'll be RB2 right off the gate. I think with the other guys, the talent has just shown through, right? With guys like Marquise Watts. When a guy shows up in practice and then does that under the lights, it's hard not to take notice. And he really earned himself a spot on the team. Christian Izien, another guy undrafted free agent. I like him. So you've got a starter in Christian Izien. You've got a guy who's going to be in the mix fairly soon and fairly often at wide receiver and Raheem Jarrett and Sean Tucker as your RB2. So, I mean, right off the bat, you've hit 3 home runs in undrafted free agency if these guys can pan out. And then you get some really good depth players with Kayvon Merriweather, who's that hard-hitting, smart Iowa safety. Those guys are very smart. We saw him, make a fumble recovery, pass deflection in the last game, just flying around, and he's got that hit stick to him. Marquise Watts, again, was just harassing quarterbacks in the backfield. And with Derek Pitts too, they like him and his special teams abilities. So he's a guy that mostly an outside cornerback, but they will certainly try to level him up and develop him and see what he can become. But with that being said, I think if you're looking at roster moves, especially in the secondary, I think Derek Pitts is probably the first one to go if they can find an upgrade. But they do like him, and they'll probably try to sneak him back in the practice squad, along with Keenan Isaac as well, who is from Arkansas State, who kind of turned some heads. He was a starter in a lot of the games. They just like Derek Pitts' special teams ability more than Keenan Isaac's. That's why they went with Pitts over Isaac there.
JC, going back to Keyshawn Vaughn, do you think he's done enough? Do you get the sense the organization may want to move on? I get it. Jason Licht invested a 3rd-round pick, but you haven't heard a lot in camp. You haven't seen a lot on tape when it comes to game time situations in the preseason. I feel like there's not a lot of body of work there. So do you get the sense that the Bucs may move on from him and may get a veteran running back for that room?
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a veteran running back, but a different style of running back. I think, Keyshawn Vaughn had that opportunity. He entered camp as RB2, I don't know if they saw enough fire in him. I think they just saw a lot of complacentment. He started RB2, and then before Chase Edmonds got hurt, he quickly elevated into that role, and then he got injured, and then it was really okay. You've got a chance to go out there and solidify your status as RB2. And then he kind of just let Sean Tucker pass him. Now, granted, Sean Tucker was running behind a worse offensive line and worse defensive players than Keyshawn Vaughn was. And, he certainly wasn't helped much in that Jets game.
No.
The offensive lineman getting blown up a few times and get it in the backfield. But at the same time, I don't know if he showed enough will, want, or desire to kind of stake his claim. I don't know if the Bucs feel that same way, but from an outsider, I mean, you let an undrafted guy come in here and kind of take your spot and didn't really put much of a fight. for it. So if they can upgrade that spot again with a bruising style back who can be that short yardage goal line type guy, and remember, I mean, it's all about getting that 1 or 2 yards, right? This team struggled with that last year.
1 inch.
Yep. Contribute in that role. But also remember, they've got to be a factor on special teams. And that's kind of where Keyshawn loses out too, because John Tucker is the personal protector on punt team. Chase Edmonds has a role on special teams as well. So if they're going to keep Vaughn, that I think they'll be fine. They'll find a way to utilize him. But if not, look for a bruiser back who's going to be a contributor on special teams as well.
Yeah, I've seen Keyshawn show some things in games, obviously, that I think he can be a good back. But your point is a good one. I don't know what his attitude is like in camp. I don't know, if he's rubbing I don't know if it's good or it's bad. I'm not, only the coaches know that stuff, right? I haven't heard anything bad about him at all. When they talk about Keyshawn, especially last year, they always say glowing things about him, about he's got a great attitude, he's getting better, he's doing all the right things. But he just has not really shown in preseason games. We've seen it in regular season games when he's gotten an opportunity. So I still think he's got something there. But maybe he's getting pissed off and that he's not getting the opportunities. I don't know. But, I hope he does get some shots this year, because I think he's a good talent. All right. Now, there is some concern. Christopher Cole is asking about the groin injury from Mike Evans. I don't think it's a super big concern. Have you heard anything on that? Antoine Winfield has not practiced. I'm a little concerned about him. What are you hearing about these injured guys? Will they be able to play?
Yeah, Mike is definitely going to play. I think going to be able to play. I think really what you're looking at is two bigger guys, and that's going to be Antoine Winfield Jr. and Kalijah Kancey. Is Kalijah Kancey healed enough up to be able to go week 1? We saw him moving around, kind of doing some things that last week of practice. So he's going to be one to monitor. Antoine Winfield, if he can't go, they'll start to D. Delaney in his spot. The other guys are obviously, as I mentioned earlier, KJ Britt and Servassier Dennis, which could lead to, like I said, an elevation of either Ulysses Gilbert or JJ Russell, if they make it back onto the practice squad. So definitely concerned a little bit about Antoine Winfield Jr. We'll know more next week when we start to gear up for the game. If he's out there at practice, we'll know a little bit more. As far as Kalijah Kancey, same thing. I think if you get Kalijah out there, then it's a plus, but you've kind of practice with him all since he got injured, almost all of training camp. So you have guys that can step in if needed be there, with a Will Golson, with a Greg Gaines, and kind of patchwork that till he's not the same player, obviously, but at least some patchwork there on the defensive side until he can. But they are encouraged that he could be able to play. So it's just making sure there's no setbacks this week at practice, and then obviously next week leading up to the game. Woo!
Woo! That's right? Let's get rid of preseason. Let's freaking go. Woo! So, listen, I went on a bit of a monologue / rant today about the disrespect that Baker Mayfield has gotten nationally, especially from Cowturd. So many people have just written him off, and it's weird to me why. I mean, you look at his numbers in college, they're off the charts. Heisman Trophy winner. He goes into a crappy position at Cleveland, leads them to the freaking playoffs and wins a game, which is not easy to do in Cleveland, and then gets bounced around, gets injured. Yeah, this guy, I think, is being sold short. I think he's going to have a tremendous season, and I even believe he could be part of a Super Bowl future with this team. I mean, it's a long shot. Not many quarterbacks win Super Bowls. I get it, but I just think this guy in this particular offense has the ability to be a top 10 quarterback in this league. I do believe that, and that's all you really need to be to win a Super Bowl is a top 10 quarterback. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the top 3. But if you got a good team around you, you can. With Patrick Mahomes around, it's going to be tough. I get it. But can he be a building block to the future, or do you feel like the Bucs don't have their next Super Bowl winning quarterback yet?
Super Bowl winning quarterback would definitely be a little more gracious than I would want to say, but long-term quarterback for the next 3 to 4 years after this season, I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe that he can.
that might be a better question.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. I think people are selling him short. You look at what he was able to do his rookie season, and he kind of came in and set the league ablaze. 27 touchdowns as a rookie was a rookie record till it was surpassed. And then his big season in 2020 when he brought the Browns to an 11-5 record in the playoffs and almost made that AFC Championship game if the Browns defense could contain Chad Henne, which they couldn't.
Right.
We might be talking about Baker in a different light, and there might be no
Right.
different thoughts in there. I think Kevin Stefanski's offense is very similar. There's a lot of things that are derivative from that Shanahan offense, from which the tree he comes from. I think this new offense fits him to a T. It's got obviously some of those things, some of the things he did well last year with the Rams, even going back to his time at Oklahoma with the boots and certain things that he ran there. It's an offense that's going to put not only him but everybody else in a position to succeed and make plays. So I think that there's a really good chance that I know we talked about Geno Smith last year, but I really don't see a reason why, in my mind, that can't be the story of Baker Mayfield. 4,000 yards passing, 27, 28 touchdowns. If you can limit the turnovers to 10, 11 turnovers. And the NFC South crown, I don't see why that can't be the storyline. I know we were talking the other day, CBS came out and have the Bucs in the Super Bowl, with their Madden simulation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you look at Baker, and what he's had to deal with over his first 5 seasons. He's had 7 different head coaches, 6 different offensive coordinators, kind of just ineptitude with the Browns organization until they brought Stefanski in there.
Right.
And then last year, the whole situation last year, everyone likes to bring that up, and you couldn't even make the well, the thing is, he was never a good fit for the Carolina Panthers offense.
No.
I feel like that was more of a pressure move by ownership to say, we got to get first overall pick. We need a name in here. If we're going to competition between Sam Darnold and PJ Walker, what's it going to cost to get Baker in here? And I know the Bucs were high on Baker, and if Brady did retire last year, they would have thrown their name in that hat to get Baker. So it's a guy that they've been high on, they've seen the talent on, and thought he could succeed in last year's system. So he certainly can succeed in this year's system for sure. I think with the tools around him, the players, the coaching, I was at his benefit, Be the Ball benefit for Top Golf, which raised over $115,000, this past weekend to benefit families and children in Hillsborough County, which is just amazing. But
it's awesome.
Him and his wife, he's saying he's the healthiest he's ever been physically, mentally. And she said that, he's fired up more so in a way that she hasn't seen in quite a long time. So I think there's certainly a path for Baker to, potentially follow that Geno Smith run of last year and be that comeback player of the year and really show people that, he was the number 1 overall pick for a reason, and with stability, he can continue to do that.
All right, JC, great stuff, my friend. Appreciate it. Tell all the people what's going on at Pewter Report and all the podcasts I listen every day. You guys are fantastic. Tell them where they can find it.
Yeah, you guys can find us at Pewter Report on all the socials, Pewter Report TV on YouTube. We're definitely going to be cranking out some content here. We're going to be, we've got some different things in the pipeline. As far as articles, we're going to have our roundtables back again. We're going to be predicting the offensive and defensive players of the year for the Buccaneers.
Nice.
Of course, you guys can follow me at JC Allen NFL on Twitter for all your latest Bucs news, whether it's from myself, Pewter Report, the Buccaneers, your one-stop shop for it all. So thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, you're awesome, JC. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Pewter Report. Check out the webcast, that they do so well, the podcasts, each and every day. Good stuff. Because let's be honest, podcasts, live stream, that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's it. It really is the way to go at the end of the day. You're exactly right. And
on demand, baby. Whenever you want to listen to it, you can listen to it any way you want to listen to it.
Exactly. I mean,
Peter's getting on your nerves. You can just hit fast forward. So if I say something stupid, which happens every minute or so, you can fast forward.
Shut up!
There you go.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to hit the Rays. What did David Ortiz say about your Rays?
Mm-hmm.
What's he talking about? Did you see what happened to Ronald Acuna Jr. last night? Holy shit, that was bananas. And what a year he's having. We'll get into some college football. Lots of good stuff coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo was on with us yesterday talking about stem cells and Ryan Jensen. Check out yesterday's show at the end of the show if you want to listen to that fascinating conversation. Thought it was very, very interesting. And if you want a primary care physician who knows about stem cells and all the modern stuff that you should be using to stay healthy, he is your guy. BAMMC.com. If you want to lose weight, testosterone replacement, whatever it is, primary care, BAMMC.com. Go to the website and get an appointment. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
And we're back for the 11 o'clock hour. We got lots to get to, Rays talk to get to, more Bucks talk, some U.S. Open talk as well. But let's get to our good friend TJ Reeves, Bucks sideline guy who loves to join us on TJ Tuesdays. What's up, brother?
Hey, is there anything going on today?
No.
Man, the mayhem. I will say this. I get all the preparedness, etc., but right now is the literal calm before the storm, because I was just out a few minutes ago with the dog. It is still humid, but the sun is out. So whenever you
Beautiful day.
hear that cliche about the calm before the storm, this is it. I realize we're going to get overcast and wind and probably some rain, and there could be some storm surge, especially north of us. Luckily, it looks like that we're going to be largely spared. But yes, this is the literal calm before the storm that is going on amongst everything. And thank you guys, because you're providing your usual quality, let's say, hurricane distraction on an Ideal Tuesday today. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I'm worried about Peter. He's a little north, he's up in the Holiday area.
What time are you coming over, Peter? What time are you evacuating south? We're taking reservations at the moment. I have people that are in Crystal River and in Homosassa, and obviously they got to get out because they're north of you. So I said, come on this way. We'll make do somehow, some way.
Are you serving chicken wings? That's all I want to know. If I'm coming over, you got to be serving some chicken wings.
We're just going to pull the veil totally back. My wife is going to cook enough food for an army today because she's concerned that the power's out. So we will not go hungry, Peter.
All right.
So she has already begun preparation, and she's going to start cooking here in a little while, and she may be done by Thursday, depending on the power. She may not be. We will have enough food until after Labor Day weekend, probably, at our house. So come get the eats.
Let's go ahead and get out our craziest hurricane stories. All right. So my story goes back to TJ. You'll remember this. This is when the Bucks were training over in Disney. I think it was Charlie. I think
2004.
It was Charlie.
2004.
And I think my wife was. Shay was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Cullen was 6. And she was like, we got to get out of here. And I was like, yeah, I agree. This one's coming. It's going to hit us dead on. We got to get out of here. Let's go over to the condo in Orlando where we were staying because the Bucks, the Channel 8 condo. And I'm like, we'll just go over there.
Right.
We'll get some wind and rain, but we're not going to get it,
because were you living in South Tampa, or you were living in Pinellas, and it was mandatory evacuation?
I was living in South Tampa.
Mandatory evacuation. You had no choice.
Less than a mile from Bayshore.
And you were mandatory. Zone A. Get out.
So
right.
we got to go. So we go to Orlando, and I'll be damned if the eye of the storm didn't come right over our condo in Orlando. The eye of the freaking storm, because of course it went south. So we evacuated right into the eye of the storm. It was beautiful.
Okay.
Great move by me. Of course, by that time it was only about 100. I say only about 100, 105 miles an hour. We actually went out in the backyard just to experience the hurricane winds, and then quickly came back.
And so remember, that was the year.
Yeah.
That was the year where there were 4 of them that all came right through the middle of the state, one direction or another. Exactly, I see you guys nodding in the audience. Will remember that. And I know Dave Moore was telling the story recently about they were in the training camp, obviously in 2004 that you're talking about. And so basically John Gruden said to the players, okay, we're canceling practice today. Go back to Tampa, get your families, batten everything down, and you can bring them back here, back to Orlando. Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So he
said the same thing. We all did the same thing. We went and battened everything down. He goes, I spent like 4 hours because he's on the beach in Pinellas. He goes, Allstott and I drove the truck. And he goes, I dropped Mike off. It was my truck. I dropped Mike off for him to secure stuff with his family and drive him out. I'm securing my stuff with my family. His kids are little like yours are.
Yeah.
He goes, and we drive back to Orlando to hunker down in the hotel with the thing and the thing comes right at Orlando anyway, right at the middle of the state. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And I go back to Hurricane Elena. This predates you being in the market. And Peter, I think you were on the planet 38 years ago, right at it, but you were a little guy. This is Labor Day weekend 85. The 38th anniversary of Hurricane Elena is this weekend, which, by the way, is also Mrs. Reeves's birthday. Happy birthday. She's always Labor Day. And so she remembers having her birthday party canceled on the Friday night with her friends. And in that case, Elena was a massive storm that came up the Gulf of Mexico and sat about 50 miles off the Bay Area to the west. And we're getting the wind and the rain, but not the actual storm for like 2 days. No exaggeration. All of Thursday, all of Friday. Peter, we've joked, and JP, we may have joked about this, but for the audience, the Buccaneers played a preseason game that Friday night of Labor Day weekend against the Washington Redskins. Joe Theismann, John Riggins, and the Washington Redskins were here against Steve DeBerg, Steve Young, first year of Lehman Bennett, James Wilder, Buccaneers. Leroy Selman had retired. And so they played that preseason game. The Buccaneers announced like 25,000 fans. I don't know if there were 15,000 there. There might not have been 10,000 there.
What were the chances Riggins and DeBerg were also at the Mons Venus before or after the game?
Possibly if it was open. Good call. Good line by you. So they played that game that night, that preseason game. And Theismann would later that year was the infamous Lawrence Taylor sack and the broken leg. The 85 season ended his career. But the final preseason game was here in Tampa.
Everybody come on out to a now we would
move it. Now we would because if I'm not mistaken, weren't that same preseason there was another hurricane coming and the Buccaneers were to have played on like a Friday night and they moved the game to Monday night so everybody could evacuate. So I think you were doing the games on Channel 8 when that happened, where they moved it like 48 hours and moved it. So those things can happen. So again, everybody stay safe. It looks like it's going to be much worse up in your old stomping ground and where our buddy, the Hall of Famer Gene Deckerhoff is, and Tallahassee and the Panhandle are in danger. So everybody be safe. If you got relatives, be safe.
Because I'm a meteorologist as well as a sportscaster. I'm still concerned about the east side of the storm blowing up the surge up into Tampa Bay. I think and onto the Pinellas Coast as well, and Sarasota. I think that's a real deal. People got to remember, just because you may not get hit by the eye of the hurricane or the front wall, which I think we might get a little bit of that eastern wall as well in Tampa Bay. But that the last two hurricanes, we got the backside. It sucked the water out of the bay. This time we're going to get the east side where it's pushing it up, and it's going to intensify a lot faster over this warm water. They were talking about it's be a two or three. I think it might be worse than that, because we saw that last year. And so this one, I think people are saying it's not going to be as bad. I say not.
It depends on where you live. And you know that. It depends on where you live, because again, if you're in Brandon listening to us east, or Plant City watching us, or if you're in New Tampa to the east, you're not going to be nearly as affected as those that are on the coast.
And South Tampa.
From South Tampa to St. Pete, to
pushing that water up the bay.
All the way up the coastline into Pasco and Hernando County and into Citrus County. They're going to get what you're talking about, even if it doesn't come here. You're exactly right. So
I remember Charlie from 2004, because we were in the center of that, and it was supposed to hit in Pasco County. Yep. And I also had to intern at WTSP Channel 10, because I remember having to go out and get food for everybody. And then 1985.
I haven't heard this story.
Yes,
what did you go get? What did you go get? Sandwiches, pizza? What you were the
early send the intern.
Send the intern to go and the beer, and probably the beer. You were the original Uber Eats 19 years ago.
That's it. I had to go out to Burger King and get Reginald Roundtree and Ness food, everybody, and that's what we were doing. And it wasn't bad, because it was basically south at that point. All the damage was south.
This is tremendous. I've never heard this story. So you're getting the food for Reggie Roundtree, Heather Van Nest, and would that still have been the late Dick Fletcher doing the weather and whoever else doing the weather?
That is
and
correct.
You're getting them like Whoppers and fries and drinks. Peter the intern.
Yes, Peter the intern and John,
Dave Ward. Dave Ward's asking for, hey, can you go to McDonald's and give me a double quarter pounder?
Right, get some chicken McNuggets, get some alcoholic beverages. Peter was the original Uber Eats. I love this.
The original Drizzly.
Yeah. And then
Reggie's like, go get me a bottle of scotch too while you're at it, kid.
We've been here for 18.
To get scotch. Go get me some scotch.
We've been here for 18 hours. We need something more powerful than a Diet Coke. I would agree.
That's it. And then 1985, Elena, because my Meemaw, of course, my grandma, but you call her Meemaw, she would tell my mom, she was yelling at my mom at the time. She's like, Sandra King, you better get out of the house right now. The hurricane's coming. And keep in mind, the lady has been through Donna and also Camille. So she was as hell.
Meemaw was a hurricane veteran, and you should have been listening to her. Yeah.
Yes, she's right. Yes. So
all right. So let's get on to some more pressing matters. Let's talk some Rays, TJ.
Yes.
Did you hear what David Ortiz said?
I have not heard the latest. I just want to note
he's saying the same thing I've been saying, and John Smoltz came on the show and said last year it's concerning the Rays and their penchant for doing so well in the regular season and not being able to finish it off. He says the Rays way works great for 162 games, but it's inevitably exposed in 7. With the Red Sox hiring of Chaim Bloom from Tampa and implementing similar organizational philosophies, building through the farm, signing short deals in free agency, churning through the waiving wire, being cheap son of a bitches. Oh, wait, I added that. The deep north takes are easy, bordering on late. What Ortiz believes Tampa's 0 championships owe to roster limitation that he hopes the Red Sox can avoid. He said, quote, everybody's trying to do it the Tampa way at Fenway Park before presenting blah, blah, blah. I really like the Tampa way, the way they function during the regular season or wherever, but it hasn't worked for them during the playoffs. Like every year they're in the playoffs, every year they dominate the division. It's been happening since way before I retired, but with no results. The result is winning it all.
Hold on, let me stop you. He obviously doesn't recollect the 2008 7-game series that the Rays beat the Boston Red Sox and went on to the World Series, because I think we were all collectively there when that actually happened. It doesn't ever work. Hold the phone. In 2020, yes, a short regular season, they won 3 playoff series and got to the World Series that year. So I can't go along. I can't go along with it doesn't work at all. Now you can say you haven't won a championship yet with it, but they have won playoff series. They have gone to the World Series.
When's the last time? Well, I guess we go back to 2020. They won 3-gamer and a 5-gamer.
And then a 7-gamer where they almost blew the 3-0 lead to the Astros, all in the San Diego Stadium against New York and against the Houston Astros. But they still won the series. Yeah. So
I think the bigger point here is Mookie Betts, right? That's what he was talking about, who came in with the Dodgers this weekend, went 7 for 15 with a home run and got more ovations than any Red Sox player did. And that, basically Chaim Bloom didn't want to pay him into his 30s. And my point has been, these are the players you need to win World Series. These are the players you need to win in the postseason. The Bryce Harpers, the Mookie Betts, the superstars that know how to hit elite pitching, that are there for the moment to come up with those big hits in the postseason. And it's something that the Rays, especially offensively, have not been able to come up with. And I've said this, and John Smoltz has said this, that they love the regular season. They know how to win in the regular season, but the postseason is always going to be a problem until you start spending some money on some of these more seasoned veterans who know how to win in the playoffs. I think that's fair. No?
To an extent. But again, for the better part of 3 decades, there's a group of about 6 or 8 teams that play different financial rules.
All right, I think we lost him there, so let's go ahead and remove him out of there. Hold on real quick.
There he is. He's back.
He's back. There he is. Okay. All right, let's go back to him. Are you there, TJ? Yeah, sometimes that happens. So
He's frozen. Hurricane Adelia got him.
That's it.
I mean, look, this is going to be the age-old debate with the way the Rays do things, and I just think that it's played out. You see it every postseason. It's the Verlanders. It's the Mookie Betts. It's the superstars, the Bryce Harpers. They come up with the big hits, those moments, those postseason moments. It's rare that you see a Randy Arozarena go on a 10 home run tear in the postseason, which is what he did and led the Rays to the postseason. But that's as rare as the Rays signing big time players. That's not what they do, and hasn't been what they do. And Wander Franco was the exception to that. Of course, he's not a seasoned veteran and hasn't done really anything in the postseason, but you see where that got him.
Yeah, no, you agree. I agree with you on that, and I think Ortiz is somewhat right because, again, he's correct. Everybody's trying to do it the Tampa way, but there are some limitations to that, and you would like for them to make that big trade. TJ mentions 2008. The rumor was at the time the Rays were trying to make a trade for Jason Bay. Now, of course, he gets eliminated in 7 games, but just think about it now. You give up those prospects, and I believe it was Jeremy Hellickson, Wade Davis at the time. You give up those prospects who weren't fully developed for Jason Bay.
Who, by the way, had a hell of a postseason and a September.
Yes,
he was on fire.
He
would have been a missing piece that could have got you over the hump against the Phillies.
Sorry, that may be an early precursor of what's to come with power going in and out. For whatever reason, the internet, I was looking over here and I went, okay, I think I'm talking to myself at this point because I saw the screen go black and the internet out. I was giving a phenomenal answer. I can summarize it like this, just in like 7 seconds. The Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, and the upper echelon play by different financial rules. In order to compete for a lot of the other ones, the Rays and a bunch of the others don't get to spend 70, 80, 90 million dollars on two players. It's not, it doesn't work that way. He benefited from that. He benefited, and so did the Yankees, and so do the Dodgers, and so do the others that benefit from getting to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on 2 or 3 players to keep them around. So it's not the same rules. This team continues to compete and continues to be good, and we'll have another chance at the postseason this year. Can't necessarily say the same for the Red Sox or the Yankees right about now, can we?
That's true, but that's because, and that's his point. The Red Sox aren't doing what they used to do. They're not paying those players. But I would push back a little bit on this. And you're right. The Rays are never going to spend $250 million, but let's get to $100 million. Let's get to 125. Let's get to 150 and still be under the league average of 166. We're not even close to that. That would be it. That would be keeping a Blake Snell instead of trading him for a bunch of slapdick prospects. That would be keeping a Charlie Morton on a $15 million a player or a club option that was a no-brainer for everybody else, and then he goes and wins it with the Braves who picked him up. That would be paying some of these hitters, not $35 million a year, not a Bryce Harper deal, but a nice 15 to 20 wouldn't be bad on a first baseman who can hit 35, 40 home runs and knock in 110 a year and be able to do it in the postseason. That's the missing piece. I think that's what, you can afford to get one of those players and maybe two if you're actually even spending close to the league average, which the Rays could afford, but they choose not to. They choose to put it in their pockets. So,
and one more point on this, because you're bringing up the owner, Stu Sternberg. John Henry is still the owner of the Boston Red Sox, and ultimately it's up to him on how much money he wants to spend on talent or not. That's right. Bloom works for him on this is going to be our decisions in free agency, and I'm willing to extend the money on these contracts or not. So the owner deserves a lot of that responsibility of, you were the owner before when you were spending huge money on Ortiz and Manny Ramirez and any other big time player or free agent that you wanted to go buy. And winning World Series doing it. So look, here's the one thing I want to get to, and then we'll talk about this, and I got to jump in about 8 or 9 minutes, but that's okay. The one thing that we keep coming back to, at least in the case of the New York Yankees, the Rays have done it better than the New York Yankees over and over and over again. Now, last year, the Yankees won like 94 games. They won the division. They flamed out in the playoffs too, by the way. But by and large, the Rays have owned the Yankees in the regular season, beating them over and over and over again. Beat them in the postseason in 2020. We now have reached the point where the Yankees realize we can't beat these guys head to head on a regular basis. So we got to throw the ball at them and try to get them off their game and throw at them. And I will say this, it was fascinating watching the two different opinions and takes on Sunday on the Arozarena play, because I watched Michael Kay and my colleague Jeff Nelson, who I worked with 10 years ago doing national games on Compass Media. Nelly's a former reliever, setup guy for Mariano Rivera for the Yankees. Wow. They played Sergeant Schultz from Hogan Heroes. I know nothing. I don't know what what do you mean? What do you mean they're hitting Randy Arozarena on purpose? Hear no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. They didn't do it on purpose. Jeff Nelson is saying on the air, I don't understand why they're all upset. He's not doing it on purpose. This is what they're saying on the air. Michael Kay, who's been doing the Yankees for almost 30 years, has no idea that they've hit the Rays with pitches like 409 times in the last 5 years. They've hit them 8 times this season. Hit 12. Diaz 12 times. Hit Diaz Friday night. Hit 2 Rays earlier in the game. And it's now the bottom of the 8th inning of a game you're losing again.
Yes.
And it's the leadoff guy on a 3-0 pitch who they don't like because he's cocky. Right. And he gets one right in the ribs, and they're acting like they have no idea. All right, so the opposite was Dwayne Statz and Brian Anderson. And I heard their comments, which they believed it was on purpose from the jump. And we're saying this is ridiculous. Abreu should be thrown out of the game. He threw out him on purpose. And they've been 100%. Doing this over and over again. And when Aaron Boone, who's soon to be fired today, next week, or at the end of, he's over in Kevin Cash's face going, like this and with all the gestures and all the stuff. Cash should have just pointed at the scoreboard. That's my favorite thing. We're beating you again. Go back to your dugout.
Cash should have been in the umpire's face
to throw
until he threw me out. To throw Abreu out. And you're either going to throw me out or you're going to throw him out. One of us is leaving. And so I'm not leaving here until I make.
And so just one more. It's reached the point now where the New York Yankees, the proud New York Yankees, have become punks when it comes to dealing with the Rays. They can't beat them, so the punk has to do cheap shot things, blindside things, or whatever to get under their skin. And I love Brandon Lau's answer after the game. They're a last place team. They're a last place team.
But TJ,
we can't let that bother us.
But TJ, Steve Carney and I are on opposite sides of this. He doesn't agree with me, and I love Steve, respect him. So tell me if I'm wrong. I'm old school. You can't allow another team to keep hitting your players. The Rays have got to respond. And I'm not just talking yesterday. I said this back in the middle of the season when they did it last series. Right. The Rays refused to respond. And I don't think Kevin Cash is old school too.
And that
this must be coming from upstairs.
It may be coming from upstairs.
The players, I'm telling you, the position players are going to go down to their own freaking dugout in their own bullpen and say, what the F are you guys going to do about this? Because until you guys start hitting them, we're target practice. We have to retaliate. I don't want that.
And there was a different day.
You have to.
I'm with you. There was a different day when we go back to like Bob Gibson with the Cardinals, Nolan Ryan with the Angels, and Don Drysdale with the Dodgers. You want to know why the Cardinals and the Angels and the Dodgers never had anybody get hit? Yes. Because that's who was going to retaliate with 95, 98 miles an hour at you if you did. So it's a great point that you make about retaliation. Where is the line? But I'm so over the Yankees and the whole. I mean, give me a break. All right. So on this, because we got a few minutes left, I know the cuts have happened. You guys are talking about that. The one thing I keep saying to everybody is the roster is not 100% set because the waivers are this afternoon at 4, and it goes on for like 24 hours if you're trying to pick somebody up. And then you can pick people up after that aren't under the waiver clause. You can sign them for whatever. Right. So they may make another couple of moves. They might make 3 or 4 moves coming up. I'm just saying that. There's some young guys that have made it that may not make it when we get to Friday or when we get to early next week because they're looking at other players on other teams. You guys know this, but bear in mind, there's like 1,000 guys that are hitting the waiver wire this afternoon officially. Yeah. They're sifting through that, looking for maybe a third quarterback. John Wolford is gone. Maybe Wolford is back on the practice squad. Yeah, they're looking for things like they like him, but maybe they're looking for things like another receiver. That maybe those receivers that are practice squad eligible. They may be looking for another linebacker. I was surprised at J.J. Russell, who had a really good preseason with all the tackles, and maybe he's going to be back on the practice squad where he was a year ago.
Position inside linebacker. Yes.
They kept 4 tight ends, by the way. At the moment,
surprising.
At the moment, I don't think they're going to have 4 tight ends later this week. So
I don't either. That was weird. I didn't get that
because for the moment they're hanging on to those guys while they see what happens on the waiver wire. And I would think I don't know this, but I would think that's one of the positions. So stand by on that. And just as a quick comment, because I know you guys have been talking about it, it was great to see at field level, at least for a couple of series, the first unit offense is out there. And look, folks. We get it. It's a preseason game. Most of Baltimore starters were not playing, but at least you saw a couple of things click after that opening drive with a punt. You saw Chris Godwin, and I asked Baker Mayfield after the game, you've seen this in practice. You've seen it working out. What's it like out there in the game? He goes, that guy's amazing. He's a freak. He goes, it is so fun to get him the football. You saw Rachaad White making decisive cuts. You saw holes. Yes. These are encouraging things. It was a preseason game. All this talk, I am calling my shot on the day of Hurricane Idalia coming this way. All this talk about the Bucs being a last place team, all this talk about the Bucs winning 3 games or 4 games, being the worst team in the NFL. We know this situation as observers, media, and fans in this area better than most. This is not a 3-win situation here.
No.
This is like a 6 at the minimum, and probably like an 8 or a 9-win situation here. The Carolina Panthers, with a first-year quarterback and a 5'10", 200-pound maybe number 1 pick rookie quarterback, are not going to win more than 3 or 4 games. They're going to be fortunate to win 3 games or 4 games. So the Bucs have too much talent if they stay healthy. So let them keep picking the Bucs for dead last. number one pick possibility. What planet are you on that you think the Buccaneers with Evans and Godwin and White and Otten and Levante David and Devin White and Vita Vea and some pass rushers and a good Shaq Barrett and a good secondary and
Baker Mayfield
and Baker Mayfield if not
play.
Kyle I mean, you're going to end up. All I want is to be in the hunt come December, and more than likely you're going to be in the hunt come December in the South and for the playoffs. It's not going to be a 3-win season. There, please.
I agree. TJ Reeves making the call right there.
Love it.
Please.
Love it. TJ. Yeah, I say 10 wins. I'm optimistic.
That's ambitious. What Tristan Wirfs went all the way out to 12. I'll take it. I want him to win all 17. Tristan Wirfs said about a month ago he said 12. But this stuff about 3 wins or the worst
I got more
record
than
in the league,
6.5 in Vegas, baby. I can tell you that right now. I got more than 6.5.
I'm with you. So
I think it's a safe bet, really.
So listen, we'll see what they do with the cuts. Everybody hunker down. We'll see what happens with the storm the next day or two. Looks like it's going to largely miss us. And then it's game week next week. I'll come back on and be with you game week. God willing, I am headed to State College, Pennsylvania, Happy Valley for West Virginia, Penn State Saturday night national radio. LeVar Arrington and I are due to broadcast the game. LeVar's going to be there. More than likely, TJ's trying to get there for Saturday night, primetime, West Virginia, Penn State. That's the first primetime game ever for NBC in the Big Ten, and we'll do it on national radio. So when I'm with you next week, I'll give you a little bit about that, and then it's Buccaneers and Minnesota Vikings week, and they will have the roster set, and then let's start talking about it for real, boys.
And Mrs. Reeves is cooking chicken wings for the
Come
Hurricane
on,
Party.
chicken
Let's
wings,
go.
burgers.
Let's go.
If you need some food, come this way. North Tampa, Lutz, Pasco, Land Lakes in the region. Come on to the Reeves if you need some food. We're here.
All right. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it, brother. All right. Coming up next, we have a first open phone lines on the JP Peterson show and Peter Blake as well. So give out the phone numbers. Pump it up, Peter Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. 727-255-0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. We're going to break right now?
Yeah, drunk people do not apply. Buccaneer John, stay off my show, you drunk. You know, go on that other stupid show. We are brought to you by the Italiano Insurance folks over there. They are awesome. They will shop your insurance around, your auto insurance, which they saved me $1,000 on, and Charity, who does such great work over there. A human being will answer the phone and shop your insurance around and maybe save you tens of thousands of dollars. They've done that for people's business insurance. For my auto insurance, they saved me $1,000. I've had people come up and say they saved me $2,600 on my auto. They saved you money. They do the work. 813-877-7799. Been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, great folks in the community and great customer service. Back in 3. Stay with us.
The mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9 Jeeves. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Hurricane Tuesday. Batten down the hatches. Be smart out there. If you're in an evacuation zone, get the hell out.
They haven't told me to get out yet, so it's not like I'm violating anything, but the apartment complex did send something. They said, just be careful, make sure you do this and do that. It's like, how about you go and fix my screen first from the last hurricane that came through?
Hey, you got to run the show from there tomorrow, man, so don't lose power.
Well, I'm trying not to lose power, God willing. Hopefully, if somebody used to say the creek don't rise, right?
Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, that's it. We will be. So we'll be fine. It's okay. It's just a hurricane. It's what we do here as Floridians. We go through it every year. So
yeah, I'm where I'm at here in Windermere. We're about 215 feet above sea level. We're on the Claremont Ridge here. So yeah, we're and all the lakes and the drainage ponds are very low. So we actually need some water. We need rain, even all over Tampa Bay. We need rain.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I'm tired of it hot.
Yeah, it'll probably we'll get those lakes filled. That'll be good. Get some rain. That'll be good. But hopefully not too much damage. I'm a little concerned though. Rain will be fine. Storm surge, no good. Don't want that.
No good. And then, with hurricanes, you have that severe stuff. It comes on shore. You get those squall lines or those feeder bands, and that causes.
They're starting already, right?
Yeah, that's it. So I think the biggest thing I'm worried about is, of course, power. And then on top of it, right now I'm having a little bit of back problems. I got to take my dog out. He's 72 pounds. He likes running in the water. So I feel like if it rains a lot here, he's going to love to run through that. So I got to watch that.
Let him off the leash, Peter. Just let him go.
Yeah. Just let him go. Run down the block. Yeah. So the apartment.
He's coming back, isn't he? No.
He does. Well, he does come back, but he runs a little while. And then the apartment complex complains and goes, "Don't let your dog out." And once again, I go and refer, how about you fix the screen from the last hurricane?
See, my dog, I never have to worry about. She can walk off the leash all the time. She's not going anywhere. All she's going to do is follow that ball. I'll just take the ball. Tally's not going. As long as I got the ball in my hand, it's like an invisible leash. She ain't going nowhere. She's just sitting there watching it go. So I'm good to go. So I don't have to worry about her.
Nice. I got to get my dog trained like that. Honestly,
she'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have any callers. Nobody wants to jump in and ask us any.
We don't. I mean, we opened up the phone lines. Did I say it too fast? 727-255-0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-75.
Right there at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right
Scrolling
there.
Right through.
I mean,
all right. The captain's picks have been made for the upcoming Ryder Cup, my friend.
Okay.
So no real surprises here except for maybe one. Brooks Koepka, who missed out on the points because he was playing that stupid LIV golf tour, Live Golf Tour. Mm-hmm. But he has been named as a captain's pick by Zach Johnson, former Masters champion, who's now the captain this year for our Ryder Cup. Followed by two-time Valspar champion Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, who has been red hot this year, Colin Morikawa, who's a Ryder Cup veteran, good player. Jordan Spieth, got to have him on the squad, right?
Of course.
And Justin Thomas, who has been struggling big time. Missed the Cup at the U.S. Open, missed the Cup at the Open Championship, has not played well. So Justin Thomas Zach Thomas was asked about that. He said, Justin Thomas is one of the most talented players on the PGA Tour, in my opinion. He has been, without question, the heart and soul of U.S. Ryder Cup teams, our emotional leader. Overall, he has a fantastic Ryder Cup record. His passion for the Ryder Cup is very evident. And in my mind, he is born for this, and you just don't leave JT at home. I would agree with that. Even though he has not played his best golf, I think the Ryder Cup becomes a mental battle. All these guys can play. They're all really good technically. But for me, you got to get guys that have been through it, know how to calm the nerves and be at their best. And I think this will get Justin to play at his best. So I'm sure Zach Thomas will get a lot of crap for it, but I think it's a great pick. The 6 automatic qualifiers were Brian Harmon, the runaway winner at the Open, Wyndham Clark, Open champion, Max Homa, who's been great all year long, Scotty Scheffler, my God, if he could just putt, Xander Schauffele, who played really well this week at the Tour Championship, and Patrick Cantlay are on the 12-man team. The European Ryder Cup team will be named after their European Masters is completed in a couple of weeks. But already Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Victor Hovland, who just absolutely obliterated people the last 2 weeks, and Terrell Hatton have secured spots. Their captain is Luke Donald. He will announce the team on the 4th of December. And the U.S. have not won on European soil in 30 effing years. 30 years. Last one coming at the Belfry in Warwickshire in 1993.
I'm going to put it out there. Can they break the curse? Can they do it? Can they get it done this year? Can Thomas rise to the occasion? Why or why not, JP?
Yes, they will do it this year because they've been I think this is a new breed of American player, not as selfish, with the exception of Brooks Koepka. Who's a Seminole, and I used to love, but now I just think is a complete douchewad.
That's what happens when you get famous, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, Morikawa is a bit of a douche, I think, kind of. Jordan Spieth, love him. Brian Harmon, I mean, how can you not root for that cat? Wyndham Clark, these Max Homa, these are kind of some of the new guys. We'll see if they can answer the bell. But Scotty Scheffler, nobody hits the ball better than Scotty Scheffler. Nobody. Xander Schauffele has been playing tremendous golf. Patrick Cantlay. I like this group. There's no Tiger Woods in there. And Brooks Koepka hopefully can get along with everybody. But I like this group. Now you look at the European group, and they've never been more talented. I mean, Hovland is playing tremendous golf. John Rahm, number 1 in the world. Rory's been tremendous. Terrell Hatton, but the depth of that team, not nearly as good as the depth on the U.S. team, and that's where you win it. Well, hey, listen, we'll have Paul Stewart on tomorrow from across the pond, so we will have a vigorous debate on this. I will come prepared with numbers, and I'm sure he will, because that's what he does. So we will have a vigorous Ryder Cup debate tomorrow on the JP Peterson Show. So
have you seen the website that he has, buckpower.com?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's tremendous.
Amazing. I do a podcast on there called The No Quarter Given with Jason Powers, and we always talk about the history, and he has some great guests on there. But anything you want to know about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to me, he's going to be the official historian of the Bucs eventually. Right now, he's the unofficial, but just go on that site, and if you're a Bucs fan, you'll just love it, and it'll take you back. You'll be like, wow, I can't remember that, but now I do remember that. So good stuff.
Did you see what happened to Ronald Acuna last night?
I did not see that. No. What happened?
So he's out in Colorado playing at Coors Field, and these 2 knuckleheads just decide to run on the field because they want to get something for the gram on their Insta and get a picture with him in the outfield. And they're just freaking knuckleheads, and security guys grabbed one of them, and then another one came running out. I guess they didn't see him, and he kind of was trying to hug Acuna, and he knocked him down. So, yeah. After the game, Braves outfielder Kevin Pillar told MLB.com that there was no sense that the fans had ill intent, but that their presence created potential danger. I don't know who these jamokes were, what they were thinking.
Yeah, isn't it sad that you just don't know these days? Like they seem like they're fans, but it could turn into something worse than that. I mean, and the fans themselves are crazy, doing all that. But it's just sad that you think something bad's going to happen from a fan standpoint. I don't know.
Yeah, you just can't have that. But why? Like, what is wrong with people? Everything's got to be on social media. Let's do this. Is this the new TikTok challenge now? Jesus, people have some, but there's got to be, I don't want to be an a-hole about this, but there's got to be some consequences for these guys, man.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're just encouraging it. It seems like nothing ever happens to these people who run on the field and, could create really, really bad situations. So somebody needs to be made example of. Throw them in jail for 6 months.
Well, that's it. And then or
toughen
just
them up a little bit.
That's it. Or ban them from games for life. I mean,
that should be done without question.
Right. I mean, that would in itself be worse than probably jail time for some of these people because they are such crazy fans. I love fans. I love sports fans. I think they're the lifeblood of what sports and sports broadcasting and what we do here on this show is all about. But
stay in the stands. You don't need to be running on the field.
Yeah. Stop trying to be so extra all the time. Stay in your lane. Cheer.
By the way, Acuna had a home run last night, stole 2 bases. Now 29 home runs, 61 steals. Trying to become the first player in history to have 30 home runs and 60 or more stolen bases. The first 30-60 guy. That's Ronald Acuna Jr.
He's an amazing player. How old is he again? I mean, because I feel like it's
25.
25 years old. That's only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we're talking about right now, JP, this League of Baseball. You have Shohei Ohtani. You have Olsen, who's a story, but not as young, but still. And then you have Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, this is great for baseball. Baseball needs to get behind these younger players and promote them better so people start to care, especially the young people out there care about baseball because basketball does it. Football definitely does it. Hopefully Major League Baseball does it more.
And this story, this is from 2019, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Acuna Jr. has agreed to an 8-year, $100 million extension that will keep star outfielder under contract through the 2026 season. Deal includes club options for 27 and 28. Options are worth $17 million. So they have him on a bargain. And this is what the Rays did with Wander Franco as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what they probably need to do with, I want to see a little bit more, but maybe Josh Lowe as well. So, go and pay your players and keep them around. That's what the Braves have done. And they've added to it with some big stars, right, as well. So that's how you win World Series. Use the template of the Atlanta Braves, folks. They were a middling franchise. Until their ownership group said, we have a nice stadium here in South Atlanta, but all of our fans are in North Atlanta, and they can't get to South Atlanta anymore. So why don't we pay for half the stadium, get someone else up in Cobb County to pay for the other half, and then we'll build an entertainment complex around it so Cobb County can make lots of money in development, and we can bring a lot of development to the area so they win, and then we'll make more money on the area around it, the Battery. We'll put up a hotel, we'll pull up condominiums, and we'll build a stadium. So it's a perfect public-private partnership. Then we'll have lots more money, $130, $150 million more a year in local revenue through the premium seating in the new stadium to put into the team and be able to keep our superstars and then win a World Series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's an interesting idea.
An idea.
It blew my mind right now. An ownership that's willing to pay for half of a stadium that they want and also invest in their product consistently so they can keep the fans happy.
What a great idea.
Amazing. You just blew my mind at this point. I got to fire the cannons for that.
Can you think?
Yes.
I'm waiting to do that all day. Can you think of another franchise that Mike could do that in a development-rich area that's, give him a lot more potential for revenue, we're exploding economy and people moving here, probably another 2 million in the I-4 corner. Is there another team that needs a state?
Wait, I think you're on to something. No wonder why you've been in TV for so many years and do this show.
Eureka!
Wow, it's the Rays. Yeah, I think we've been both saying this for the last, 10, 15 years. It seems like it's that long. We're still talking about a new stadium and what the ownership should do. Even with attendance being up this year, you just wonder, can you continue this momentum, or will he talk about the stadium situation next year to get fans?
No, it's got it. Listen, the real deadline has always been the end of this year to get shovels in the ground to have a stadium ready to go by 2028. So this is the real deadline. And, he's because he dragged his feet for so long, intentionally, by the way, because he makes tons of money at Tropicana Field, and he knows that. This is finally the time to get it done. And as I said a couple weeks ago, and I still believe the reason you haven't heard a lot of whole stuff publicly is I think Major League Baseball is now finally done what they need to do. They're working behind the scenes to get new local ownership, somebody who will step up and build a stadium in Tampa, which is where Major League Baseball wants it. Major League Baseball will not allow them to build, they will not allow Stu to build another stadium in St. Petersburg in a failed location. They're not going to allow that. It's going to be in Tampa with under new ownership, and hopefully this will all come to fruition in the next couple of months. So we shall see. If not, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to another market. That's not happening. MLB wants it here. It's just a matter of will they allow Stu to do a deal, which in the short term will put money in his pockets, but in the long term will still be a failed location like they did in Miami. Still a failed location, still requiring Major League Baseball owners to give them revenue sharing money, which is what MLB owners do not want to do. They don't want to be writing checks. They want to be receiving checks, which is what they will do if they get the deal done in Tampa. No more revenue sharing for the Rays owner. And then they can go on and sell 2 expansion franchises for $2 billion each, probably one to Nashville, I would believe, probably one to Portland, maybe. Salt Lake City, I think, is interested as well. I think the other one will be on the West Coast. So Salt Lake City, Portland, where's definitely Nashville. Charlotte maybe is, I think, also, or don't worry about Orlando. That's not happening, folks. That was a Stu Sternberg plant. That was
so you don't
no public money, no owners, no nothing. Just let's put pressure on Hillsborough County and make them think we're moving to Orlando.
Right. Pat Williams, so you didn't believe in the Orlando deal. What was that name called? What were they called?
The Dreamers.
The Dreamers. You're dreaming if you think this team is going or any other team is going to Orlando. No way, no how.
Not happening. Not happening.
Dreamers.
All right. What else? Oh, did you watch the Coco Gauff match at the U.S. Open? I love my tennis. You know this. I love my tennis. Coco Gauff last night playing against Shepke, or I forget what the girl's name was. Bit of controversy. So the girl was taking, would not get ready for the serve for Coco. Like you have to play to the server's tempo if you're the receiving serve. So when the server's ready to serve, you got to get in the box and be ready, right? If you're dilly-dallying with the towel and all the other stuff, the umpire, the chair umpire, has leeway to call you for a time violation, which she did, and then it went back and forth. Coco got called, and the crowd got into it, and Coco had a 5-1 lead in the third and almost choked it away with double faults, but came back and finally won it. So Coco Gauff advances. And did you see Novak Djokovic played last night at the U.S. Open? That unvaccinated scum. Oh, my God. There's a new variant out there, and they're letting this guy come into the United States unvaccinated and play in front of 20,000 people and breathe all over them?
Oh, my
God.
God.
Oh, my God. This unvaccinated. How can New York allow this to happen? This unvaccinated scum. All of you unvaccinated scum that are killing, that were putting the world in danger, and they're still letting this guy traipse around the world and infect people. I mean, it's not like look at him. He's not fit. He's not healthy. Clearly, this guy is a public menace and a danger. How did they let him play at the U.S. Open this year? It's unconscionable. Oh my God, what is wrong with these people?
I seen it yesterday. I'm sorry. I was going to Walgreens and I seen 2 people walk out with masks. I'm like, oh, I ain't doing this again.
There we go.
And they're wearing masks in their cars now too. Explain that to me. How does that work? Why do you do that?
Doesn't work.
Why do you wear a mask in your car in the first place? It's your
some common sense and read a study or 2. It doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. We've heard rumors that there's already colleges and places already coming back with this social distancing, which also doesn't work, you morons. Jesus. But
social distancing is my social life.
Yeah, exactly. So, Richie P says, "Get to the ABC liquor before the power goes out." There's also some rumblings here that you like the Diamond Dolls place. You and Reggie Roundtree will be hanging out at Diamond Dolls. They have a generator over there.
Yeah, I think Jason Powers has been spreading rumors out there, but he is actually my chaperone. We go to Tampa sometime. I'm just joking.
Okay, all right.
Diamond Dolls, huh? Yeah, Reggie, I guess. Reggie's been out. I've seen him out a couple of times when I wasn't interning. So everybody's seen Reggie out around town. Everybody knows.
Of course. Reggie's the man about town. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love Reggie. We got to get Reggie on the show. Let's get Reggie on the show.
Let's
Absolutely.
do it. Let's do that. Yeah.
All right. That'll do it for this Hurricane Tuesday, folks. Batten down the hatches. Be smart. Don't be an idiot one way or another. Don't go crazy, but be smart. Thanks to TJ Reeves, who joined us today. And also the great JC Allen from Pewter Report. If you missed anything, don't forget we're on Apple and Spotify podcasts. To subscribe there. Also subscribe to our new YouTube page, which is FanStream Sports DSP Media. Subscribe there. We'll be migrating over there in the next week or so. Download our new app, FanStream Sports, the new one. Get the new app, and you can listen to the show there as well. Have a great day, everybody. Great job, Peter. We will see you tomorrow.